Are you serious? Are you serious? More incredible news coming out of China. 1,000 people outside of a bank in China doing a peaceful protest have been beaten to the ground and some drug away simply because these people's had their savings accounts frozen and their money frozen since April, and they need to pay their bills. They have to function, they have to live, and they can't get their funds. And it's widespread corruption in that area in China, and the people are just trying to come and say, look, you got to let us have our money. You can't just sit and hold the money for this long. And it's completely, guys, getting out of control. I'll be honest with you, totally out of control in China. Let me put a shout out right now for www.noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Wow, guys, I told you it's going to get crazier now with inflation at 8.6% and climbing. You're going to need some help to get back to some financial safety. Okay, call them, noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com, and let them share their knowledge of a gold IRA so that you'll learn, guys, what's going on here. So you won't have to be so worried about how to protect your finances in case what's happening in the banks in China comes to America, and don't think it can't. And if you're quick, they're giving away this 1/10 of an ounce, 1/10 of an ounce of pure gold. This is an American Eagle gold, really just an amazing coin. It's a gold proof coin, and they're giving this away, 1/10 of an ounce, pure gold, proof, American Eagle proof coin, 1/10 of an ounce. Awesome. They're giving away for free when you set up every qualifying IRA that's a gold IRA, or if you roll over your 401k. Guys, check it out now. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Call Colin Plume or one of his associates at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347, and tell them that Pastor Paul sent you there. Okay, let them know. All right. Well, yeah, it's a beat down. Yeah, I know about the planned emergency tactical nuke plan, and it's a nuclear threat drill, and yes, I know about that. And matter of fact, I've seen that video and seen several videos now on that, and so that's yeah, we're going to get more and more of those. You're going to see more and more of those in different cities, not only in the East Coast, but they're going to be doing them in the West Coast too. Okay, because of the real threat, and then really there is a threat of nuclear attack, a tactical nuke. I don't think Russia's going to do it, but I think they are going to do it. I've been saying they're going to do it somewhere. I believe somewhere in Europe before the end of the year. They're going to do it because everybody's saying, Putin's just bluffing, but he is going to do it to prove to the whole world, including the United States, that he's not playing. All right. Now, other people may use this, and I think they are using that. Even some of them in our country are trying. Local governments are trying to use this nuclear threat for other reasons, for certain types of lockdowns and crackdowns. So we'll keep an eye on this, because certainly every time there's anything that goes on, we know that the powers that be seem to love to exploit. They're the real fearmongers, not me. All I do is report to you what's going on and what the Bible says. Now, telling you what it says, what Jesus said in Matthew 24, Mark 13, Luke 21, if that means, if you want to call me a fearmonger, or if these guys out there, I know not you, but the people that are out there, the powers that be, want to call me a fearmonger, you're really calling Jesus a fearmonger. All Jesus is saying is, here's what's going to happen in the last days. And so when we see it happening, we might want to take, get a clue that we're living in the end times. We truly, truly are. Let me read to you what's going on here. The Chinese authorities Sunday and again today violently have dispersed peaceful protests by hundreds, actually over 1,000 people today that were trying to, they're sought in vain. They're demanding that their life savings be given back to them from the banks. And the banks have run into a deep cash crisis. So 1,000 protesters making a run on a bank saying, look, you've got my life savings in there. One factory has over almost $600,000 in there, and he's got a factory. He's got 40 people working, and he can't pay his people. His money, that's his working capital, it's called. And without it, he can't make payroll, and he can't keep buying more material to keep producing product that he can ship to keep the money coming in. I mean, it's just common sense. If somebody freezes your working capital, I mean, you're dead in the water, unless everybody wants to float along with you for a little bit and give you a chance to catch up. That doesn't, people work for free, or your vendors wait 90 days to get paid. I mean, that's not good. So we got a real problem here in China, okay? A real problem. But this is part of this crackdown. This is part of this new technology I talked about in the last video. This is part of what it means to be in a communist nation. Somebody needs to tell this to some of our lawmakers, AOC and Bernie and a few others up there, and Pelosi. Let these people know that we don't want socialism, which is basically a hybrid of communism. We don't want communism here, because we know it is actually the stepping stone to the beast, which is in the Bible. We have to stay ahead of this, okay? Matter of fact, let me read this. Let me read this article to you, just to get you up to speed on what they're saying here. It's quite extraordinary, to be quite honest with you, but it's not shocking, not at all. As we've been telling you, it's coming. China crushes a mass protest by the bank depositors who are just demanding that their life savings be given back to them. Chinese authorities on Sunday and today violently disperse a peaceful protest by hundreds of people who sought in vain to demand their life savings back from banks that have run into deepening cash crisis. Since April, 4 rural banks in China, central Henan province, have frozen millions of dollars worth of deposits, threatening the very livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of customers in an economy already battered by draconian lockdowns. Anguished depositors have staged several demonstrations, and the provincial government of Henan over the past 2 months, but their demands have invariably fallen on deaf ears. Even more than 1,000 of them from across China gathered outside the bank's branch on the country's central bank. It's called the People's Bank of China, to launch their largest protest yet. And more than half a dozen of these protesters have confirmed this with reporters. The demonstration, I've seen the video of it, is among the largest China has seen since the lockdowns, with the domestic travel being limited by the pandemic and various restrictions on movement. And then last month, the authorities even resorted to tampering with the country's digital health code system to restrict the movements of depositors and their planned protests, sparking a nationwide outcry. This time, most of the protesters arrived outside the bank before dawn this morning, about 4 a.m., to avoid being intercepted by authorities. The crowd, which included the elderly and children, occupied a flight of imposing stairs outside the bank, chanting slogans and holding up banners. But they did it all peacefully. The Henan banks, return my savings, they shouted in unison, many waving Chinese flags in various videos seen on social media. Using national flag government there in China. But against this corruption and violence that they say the Henan government has imposed upon them. A banner was written in English. Also, many of the banners were written in Chinese. A large portrait of late Chinese leader Mao Zedong was pasted on a pillar at the entrance of the bank. And across the street, hundreds of police and security personnel, some in uniforms and others in just plain clothes, assembled and surrounded the site. And the protesters shouted back at them and called them gangsters. Well, the face-off lasted for several hours today, but when rows of security dragged protesters down the stairs and beat them who resisted, including women and even the elderly, according to witnesses and on many social media videos that were released. One woman from eastern Shandong said she was pushed to the ground by two security guards who twisted and injured her arm. A 27-year-old man from the southern city of Shenzhen said, which means son, he was kicked by 7 or 8 guards on the ground before being carried away. A 45-year-old man from the central city of Wuhan, we know where that place is, said his shirt was completely torn off at the back during the scuffle. And many said they were shocked by the sudden burst of violence by these security forces. I did not expect no communication. There was no warning of it's time to leave. They just brutally dispersed us. And why would a government employees beat us? We're only ordinary people asking for our money back. We didn't do anything wrong here. The protest, your problem is you shouldn't speak. You have no freedom of speech. You have no right to protest in communist China, period. That's what it's about. It's why this same spirit is why we've been talking about the beast kingdom, the one world government, the new world order that's coming. The protesters were hurried into dozens of buses and sent to makeshift detention sites. How do you think that's going to go? From hotels and schools to factories, according to people there. Some were injured, were also just taken to hospitals. Many were released from the detention by the late afternoon today, but not all. Okay? And late on Sunday night, the Henan banking regulators issue. You know what they're going to do? They're going to get their names and they're never going to give them their money back. Never. No matter who they are. Because what it's about. Control out of chaos. That's what it's about. It's coming. It's coming. The Bible's in Pastor Begley, that's China. They already know it. And the Colombians are about to go through it. It's coming. Okay? It's absolutely coming. We're in the end times. We're in the last days. The beast is raising his head. The beast is on the rise. The beast. The beast. The beast. These people they're just innocent victims. Are you serious? I thought not. would surely be me. I thought I could be what I wanted to be. I thought I could build on life's sinking sand, but now I can't even walk without you holding my hand. I thought I could do a lot on my own. I thought I could make it all day long. I thought of myself as a mighty big man, but Lord, I can't even walk without you holding my hand. Oh Lord, I can't even walk without you holding my hand. These mountains, they're too high, and the valley's too wide. Down on my knees, that's where I learned to stand. Oh Lord, I can't even walk without you holding my hand. Are you serious? I think I'll make Jesus my all and all. And if I'm in trouble, on his name I'll call. If I didn't trust him, I'd be less of a man. 'Cause Lord, I can't even walk without you holding my hand. Oh Lord, I can't even walk without you holding my hand. The mountains are too high, and the valley's too wide. Down on my knees, that's where I learn to stand. 'Cause Lord, I can't even walk without you holding my hand. Can't even walk without you holding my hand. Guys, I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. I think you guys have to admit, we're living in the last days. I was visiting a pastor in the hospital this morning who had suffered a second heart attack and was actually within a week. And I told him, I said, we do everything we can, but when it come right down to it, we can't even walk without the Lord holding our hand. He's in control. God bless all of you. I'll be back with more on the coming apocalypse. Are you serious? Yep, I am. Pray for China. Pray for these people in China.